Three people yelled black.
So what are we calling people that are part of the simulation? Assuming it's we're going with the simulation theory on this one. And, look, it's right up there. I just heard one that we're in a simulation. And that's why we can't wake up within the or outside of the simulation. Sanity is insanity. Insanity is sanity. I have to get this. I've listened to him for quite some time. Great speaker. All right, so he calls them non-human characters. Okay, I've heard quite a few other things. You know how I said wherever your dominant consciousness is, and people in my family, wherever their dominant consciousness is, I'm probably dead to them. So for my dominant consciousness, what they are to me, they're non-human characters. There's probably no one in your family. I shouldn't say that because everybody's going to be different. I think that, see, I'm sitting here thinking about some people in my family. I think there might be a couple I could pick out that I could say are real, are souls. Okay, let's get off that whole maybe we're not souls and we're just here and that's how we exist, because that's how they exist. That's how the non-human characters exist. That's the only way they can exist. And I spoke with one today. It was him and three others, and the other three had their jaws were like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, yeah, and I'd show a picture or whatever, and they're like, and it didn't matter. This person would have an answer, and maybe not that quick, but they'd come up with an answer constantly, and it would not budge. I'm quite sure that's part of the program, wishing to stay alive, if you will. I don't know. The video that Sanity is Insanity did just really explains it well. I'm definitely linking that video. I really suggest watching that. I mean, I suggest watching a lot of people. No, that's not true. I don't call out. If I'm going to call out, it's in a video specifically, if I'm going to make a shout out or something. But, I've also noticed in my early videos, I recommended some people that I don't agree with watching them anymore. And some of them I still watch, and some I don't. I mean, but, that's where that is there. I'm leaving that. Those videos are basically for people who are just seeing these videos now and are kind of into what I'm doing. And I want people to see the progression that I went through, to see the conclusions that I've come up with that aren't quite even finished yet. They're always still growing. They're always still changing. And he's talking about how these people are just filling up space. And that's what they're doing. They're interacting. So if that's the case, and I'm tending to go in that direction, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the people around me and how many are real. And if we're shifting back and forth through dimensions, hey, one time this guy could be real, the next day it might not be. And the next day he could be back again. And I've noticed that too. I've noticed that with myself. Maybe not with myself, but the things that are around me. I mean, and that can be attributed to people being in a bad mood. Well, why are you waking up in a bad mood? Why you're never in a bad mood, you. Yeah. And he said something, he wasn't sure about if there is a definitive way to figure out who's an AI and who's not. And to me, I would just say start asking the Mandela Effects, because, and maybe not all of them. I mean, maybe they're different too. They get defensive or have an answer for everything. I spoke with someone tonight, and I'm going to clean it up a bit because it's a bit dramatic. This person, we spoke at the bar. I asked if I could film them and their story, and they said absolutely not. One of the reasons was because they feel that film and video take a piece of your soul. And I can understand that. I mean, I don't think it might be that strong, but, you know, this person was like, I hate being in here because I know there's cameras in here. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, it might be a bit much, but I kind of understand where they're coming from. I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm saying I understand. So it seems like we're in a simulation. Okay, we're going to use the term from now. I mean, my theory on we're multidimensional beings shifting through timelines. Let's say we're multidimensional beings and we experienced a physical reality, and it may have been taken over by something. We may be in another program inside of that one. This parasite idea seems to be, I don't want to say growing, seems to be coming out as different ideas. The same idea coming out from different directions. Cause for suspicion? I mean, why? Why would they? That I'm not sure that would make sense. But this idea that we're in a simulation, inside a simulation, and I mean, do we want to get out? Are we trying to get out? What did he say? The way to get out? Yeah, buddy. The way to get out is to not participate. Now, that might not have been the last video I was looking at. Hey, did you? All right. You comfortable? Let's see. Yeah, this isn't real. I feel it. You're not going to budge. Right? Oh, okay. You got to move that one leg. I didn't mean. Attaboy. I only knew what I was talking about. Let's see. Should be easy enough. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Better. I guess deciding who, what an AI is, which one's AI, which is not. If you start questioning them or start a conversation where it's going to bring out the truth or expose them, they fight back. You know, they resist. So I think that would be one way to figure that out. I'm trying to think about the people around me and the people that I've had confrontations with who I've just, tossed away, basically. The people that are really close to me around here. And I'll talk about the Mandela Effect and they go right along with it. There's nobody everybody's been affected in here. And it's always no way. No way that didn't change. And it's funny because I'll bring up, like, somebody today, I wonder if I have that taped. Talking by and they said, Lucy. I said, no, what did they say? They said, you got some explaining to do, Lucy. And I walked over and said, hey, you got. That was never said in any of the shows. And then I went into the whole thing, probably talked to them for a half hour, and that's the one guy that was just, yeah, he was, see, I don't know. Could it be that his mind just needed to justify everything? because he's enjoying his physical reality. Deep down somewhere he knows, well, no, I don't want to know the truth. I mean, that could be too, right? I don't know, because if deep down you know the truth, you're probably thinking, no, I don't want to be stuck here deep down. Glad I'm putting my thoughts out like this after a good video. Because Insanity is Sanity is the name of his channel. I totally flip-flopped that. Listen, I've been listening to him for about a year. I mean, probably not every video. I don't think I've seen anybody's videos straight through. And he also mentions that, this, how does he put it? So he said it, well, this could be part of the simulation. This, the things, it might not be let me see, I should do this and listen to it as I'm going. It might not be the virus. It might be part of the simulation for us to believe it's a virus. And I worded that as, maybe this is how we're supposed to live. Maybe this is what physical reality is. It's weird how I brought up the other day, that maybe we don't have souls, or, this is just what it is, for the non-human characters, that is what it is. But for us here, learning and trying to figure this out and discovering these things, I'm going to go with the term soul. I'm going to say we have souls, and we probably chose to come here. I don't, I've read things where some entities were manipulated to come here, but when you get down to it, you manipulate yourself to come here anyway. So, so at least for me, I feel like I've said it a few times, we could take 3 or 4 of these theories, put them all together, and say this is what it is. When the parasite idea came up, I've heard a couple other channels talk about it, and now him, and I was like, wow, okay. So, but it might not be. That might be part of the program. That was the part I liked, because I feel like, yeah, maybe this is what we're supposed to go through to experience, to grow, to learn, and etc. See, this whole thing, this is totally becoming a distraction. Not even becoming, it was from the beginning. Leave one distraction and jump into another. No, I can't let that happen. I have to find out what the next distraction will be. I've never been so sorry that I was not able to tape the conversation I just had. I've had 3 or 4 things happen tonight alone, showing me, or at least how I'm interpreting these things, that we're in a simulation. 2 videos that I've watched. The conversation I had at the bar. Some of the people I interacted with as non-human characters, or the shadow people, or maybe that might not be the right word, the robots walking around, the automatons that are part of the program. I've had so many of these, I don't know, experiences tonight alone. I'm thinking, okay, it may be that. It may be that, and we may be inside a program, according to what Sanity is Insanity said, as far as that's why we can't wake ourselves up with outside of the program. And I just find that fascinating. And I don't want to get too wrapped up into anything, but I really like a lot of the things he's saying. I've said very similar things, just different terminology, and not much different. I was told that they solved the simulation, and they know they're in a computer program. Done. Said it was, I forget the word they used. It was like a duct, and like an air duct. They looked up, and it was there, and that quickly it disappeared, sort of like it just vanished, like it evaporated. And that wasn't long ago. And this person's absolutely sure we're in a simulation. All right, I was just going over one of my videos, and I was on a tear where I was talking about my family and where their dominant consciousness is. I may be dead to them. And where I'm at interacting with them here, they are just part of the program. Their dominant consciousness isn't in that. There's a point I wanted to make. I was saying the only way that non-human characters can exist is to just constantly get recycled back into the program. But for us souls, that's not what we're doing. Members of your family. I can see where a lot of them are just non-human characters in my dimension. If they are actually real, have a soul, they're in another dimension with me as a non-human character. Okay, I think that was the way to say it. Yeah, so their soul is off doing their thing, not in your dimension. In your dimension, it's your soul that matters. And how you interact with others, because their dominant consciousness, the people around you, the people that interact with you, probably a lot of the people you're interacting with on the computer are close to your dominant soul. Are they all real? I don't know. This has all been speculation right from the beginning anyway. Most of it through experience. This is through experience too, with me interacting with these non-human characters and being able to pick them out by asking certain questions. The next time I come across someone who just isn't getting the Mandela Effects, we're trying to blow them off at every turn, I'm going to try and pull them aside. Just me and him, and just talk. And just see if I could pull something out of them, or see if they'll open up. You never know, right? We're going to have this incredible conversation, and the conclusion is none of this is real and you can't die. Where do you go with that? Well, just enjoy it. And I'm like, because I'm asking, I'm like, well, are we stuck? She goes, some people are. It was amazing that when I would ask a question, the insight that this woman had was just amazing. And I don't think she sees it. I don't think she sees how brilliant she is. I don't think and I don't know if it's, just from the experiences she had or whatever. Because it's like with me, I explained how, my family in this timeline, half of, their consciousness is somewhere where I've died. That's where their main consciousness is. And she's like, doesn't that bother you? Doesn't that hurt you? I'm like, well, no, why? They still exist. They're alive. I'm alive. It doesn't matter. They're happy. Everybody's happy. Who cares? Everybody's getting through it their own way. So what's it matter? She also can, yeah. John's here. Oh, nice. Shirt guy. Concoctions.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, bro?
How are you?
Best day of my life. So many things I want to spit out here. Real quick, I've noticed Sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll say it's my theory that our consciousness shifts in the timelines. It's not my theory. I've derived it from experience, things that have actually happened to me, and listening to other people's experiences. And I put that together, and other people have talked about it too. And I really, I know I've talked about it in detail on the Mandela Effects site.com. But even then, I don't think I've said it the way I'm saying it now. That's just one thing. The first thing I wanted to say is I had a great time on Mandela Monday. I thought it was a great show. I had an absolutely fantastic time on Mandela Monday with Scar Performance, Gensploration, and Guy Fox, Rachel, Andrea. It was just an awesome show. I'm hoping I can do it again. Maybe I'll be able to actually film people live and cut in on the show. I wouldn't want it to last long. I wouldn't want to cut in on the show, but that might be neat. Maybe we could start the show out like that if somebody comes in. I mean, it's going to be a timing thing. I don't know. But that was awesome meeting everybody, and Mandela Effect. And so I'll start talking about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're saying some really great stuff here. Boom, break out the camera. And I end up with, I don't know, quite a bit. If it's real busy, I don't get that much. If it's not that busy, I get a lot of video on these people. And I ran into a girl from Ireland. Her and her husband were in the bar tonight. So now after I did Mandela Monday, I went downstairs to the bar, relieved the boss, said, go ahead, go have a beer. I'll take over. And I'm, and I doing my thing, and and I was talking to her briefly about some things, and I thought, no, I'm not going to break out the camera. I did enough today, and I had to. I mean, she started asking me, and she wouldn't let go. So when I brought her into focus, when I brought her attention to the JFK thing, I mean, I'm going to show it now. You'll see that first she is shocked and doesn't believe it. I get off the camera, show her some pictures, put her back on camera, and she's desperately, she wants more information. She wants more Mandela Effects. She's like, do this to me more. I want more of this. I had a lot going on in between the takes, we'll call it, and so I didn't get everything, but I think I got enough. And I got some really great things she's saying about Nelson Mandela. But there were a couple people playing guitars in the background, and I think they knew I was filming. And they just, that was another thing. And there was quite a few other things I wanted to spout out. Let's see. I want to read off some of I've gotten some emails I want to read. I've gotten some comments from my videos I want to read, and I'm just going to have to wait. Here we go. Okay, and I didn't edit any of this. You're just getting all of it. I'm just going to give it to you. So there'll be talks about Mandela Effects and some other stuff. And this cracks me up because I have a whole video ready to go to put out because of, I can't stop pulling out the camera on people. I'm going to have to. It's nice. I'm off the next 2 days. Mandela Monday with Guy and Scar Performance. I had a great time. It was awesome. And this is the bar. We're going to try and do some live videos.
Honestly, you cannot record what I'm going to say.
I'm sure that I've recorded worse. Why, you know who he is? I didn't realize how many people were going to ask me who's Dan. Cracking me up how many people are asking me who is Jazz Sinclair. Will you film me?
I'm from Ireland.
Just hold that. You're from Ireland? She's from Ireland.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Mandela Effect?
The $1 million effect?
The Mandela? Nelson Mandela Effect? Have you ever heard of it?
No, but I've heard about Nelson Mandela.
No, have you ever heard of the game Monopoly?
Yes.
Okay. The Monopoly man, does he wear an eyepiece? Does he wear a monocle or no?
We have a car. We have something else. But I don't know about the man.
But the monocle, the eyepiece, you don't know if he has an eyepiece?
No,
Does he wear one?
Tell me.
Well, I remember he wears an eyepiece, and he does not. He's never worn one. And I remember he wore one. Do you know how many people were in the car when JFK was murdered? Two. Jackie was driving and had. So three. So.
Oh, you're okay.
Okay,
Right,
three. Okay, your consciousness shifted into a timeline where there's 6 people in that car. Did you see her face? Did you see how quick that jaw dropped? There's actually 6 people in that car. That's the Mandela Effect. Changes in history that cannot be explained.
No. You need to explain that to me. You can't just tell me.
I gotta shut the camera off because this ain't poor girl. All right.
You need to explain that to me and then tell me.
There are changes in history that people cannot explain. It's been going on for 2 years for me, and longer for other people. It's not mainstream. It's only going to, right now I know it's on YouTube and some other websites online. But there have been major changes. The continents are moving around. People remember them being other places. People have died and they're dying again. Product names are changing.
There were 6 people in JFK's car?
There is and always has been. It's my theory that our consciousness shifts timelines. So there's always been 6 people.
Because what I saw was similar.
Right, there was.
That's what I saw. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I studied. There was 4, and a lot of people say 3, and a lot of people say 5, but there's actually 6, and it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to be upset about. Either
it's just something you didn't see.
No. There was 4 people in that car when I studied it. There was 3 people in that car when you saw it.
No, but why are you saying 6?
Because there are 6 now.
Why come?
Your consciousness shifted into another timeline. That's one of the theories. Lower vibrational timelines are shedding away. I'm totally losing her. Totally.
No, you're not losing me, but you're.
You want me to talk slower? Maybe my American accent is too.
But you're telling me something. You're telling me that I saw 6. I didn't. I saw 2.
I know.
And we're going to reason that out. And I maybe saw 4 because there might have been a driver and there might have been somebody else. But who are the 6?
I'm going to shut this camera off and show you a picture. I feel like I should.
The monkeys and the donkeys. Happy birthday.
I feel like I'm in an Irish pub in Ireland. I feel like I'm in Ireland.
I'm sure Ireland's everywhere.
Okay, see, now I can ask you questions, but a lot of these things are based in America, so I don't know what you're... Like, do you guys have yield signs in Ireland? Do you have a yield sign?
Stop.
You have stop sign. What color are they?
Red and white.
Red and white. Do you have a yield sign?
Give away?
Like yield.
To give way?
Yes, to give way, yes.
Yes, we do.
What color are they?
Black and white.
Black and white. See, ours...
Aren't ours? Aren't ours the same? Black and white?
Now that I got it.
Give way or black and white sign? Black and white. Black and white. Black and white.
See, now, that's why it's hard for me to give you more Mandela effects, because in this country, most people I ask say yellow, but it hasn't been yellow since 1972. It's red. The yield sign, or the give way sign is what it's called now, is red here. But a lot of people remember it as being yellow. You've ever seen The Wizard of Oz? The movie, The Wizard of Oz?
Not one of my favorites. I have seen it, but it's not one of my favorites.
Okay, how about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Disney's version?
Not really.
Yeah, you see, this is why it's tough to. You're like, give me more, give me more. I got you on the JFK one.
Yeah.
You've been affected. Now, I guess it would be up to you whether you want to continue on exploring it, seeing if you can find some changes. I mean, how many times have you put your keys down, walked out of the room, came back, and like, oh, where did I put my keys? And you know you put them there, and they weren't there. Okay, all you did was shift from one timeline to another, and you just didn't put your keys there.
Countless.
Right. Okay. How many? Has this ever happened? Hey, remember that movie we saw last week? And you don't know what this person's talking about. Has that ever happened?
Every week.
Yeah. See.
Hey, why do you call it the Mandela Effect?
Oh, Nelson Mandela. Yes, please. Come on over. Come down here. The camera doesn't reach.
We live in the clouds. We're 10,000.
Yeah, I've been struggling for 2 days.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell
So
me.
you
I've been
see
struggling.
things that happen at sea level that the rest of the world doesn't see. They just accept it as changes, but we see it differently because we live in the clouds.
I'm not buying that theory.
I am totally with that theory. Because I've never been anywhere where I've noticed the Mandela effect.
Oh, and this is the first time you've noticed it being up here.
Being up here, we notice things a little differently.
But I don't get it. Why call it the Mandela Effect?
Ah, that's what we're explaining. Nelson Mandela, a lot of people remember him dying in 1988, 89, late 80s. Now, I saw the funeral on television, and the reason I know that is because...
Okay.
Is because I was in work, and I saw a funeral, and I said, hey, who died? And my friend who was black comes up to me and goes, Nelson Mandela. And I said, hey, who's Nelson Mandela? And he went, bam, and he smacked me. I remembered that. That is what I believe Guy calls the trigger point. That's a trigger point for me. I'm going to remember Nelson Mandela's funeral because that's the first time I even ever heard about it. I don't mean to be ignorant, but that's, and he told me about him, and then he went on to become the president of South Africa, and then died again. So somebody noticed that. It wasn't me.
Whoa, rewind.
So he's died twice.
No. Rewind.
Put the camera on her when she's talking. I gotta
Totally,
teach
totally,
these guys.
totally rewind.
I'm not a camera guy. This is not my forte.
Nelson Mandela. No.
He was a peace.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, well, and some people remember him. That's funny you say that because some people remember
He was
him
a terrorist.
being a terrorist. A lot of people
He was
remember
a
him being a
terrorist.
terrorist.
Hey, steady on, guys.
And that's what,
Nelson Mandela. He was a terrorist.
All I
First
heard
and
was the word
foremost.
terrorist and seen somebody videoing something.
Yeah, he was. He was a
And then I
terrorist.
remembered I was in the United States of Awesomeness. I was like,
You know, he was a terrorist first and foremost.
see that? See now, I don't know. I never got into any of that. I don't understand it. A lot of some people have said
The
that.
little country that we come from, that we're very complex, and where Nelson came from was very complex, and what he is now to a lot of people is very different to what he started out being. And he started out as a terrorist.
And then what? Because they caught him, threw him in jail, everybody started to think of him as a hero? Is that how it happened?
Tiny little bit of that.
Really? Okay. See, I don't
little bit of
know.
that.
I just always assumed he was a peace activist and was thrown in jail for being a peace activist, which does sound a little strange. But, governments these days, who knows?
No, but ultimately, he was a man. And just a look.
But did he die in jail? Do you remember him dying in jail? Or do you remember him becoming president of South Africa? Which do you remember? Or both?
I
What happened to
remember
him?
him being president, I'm not sure. I remember.
I don't remember him being president of South
I don't
Africa.
remember. I don't remember.
No.
Oh, he's president of South
I remember him
Africa.
being released. I remember him being released. And I remember
Released.
that woman he was married to. She's a negative lady. And I remember, I think perhaps his time in jail made him, as we all have the right to change. We all have the right to change. And I think he did. And I think he looked differently. And he looked differently on his continent and land and his people. And I think the man that went in and the man that came out were two different people.
The man that went in and the man that came out were two different people. You don't mean that physically, no?
No.
Okay. Because some people say that's what happened. He died in prison, and then they let some look-alike come out to become president
I
of
think
South
he,
Africa?
I think he perhaps came out. I think he came out and changed. And you know, I think the things aren't right, and we make
Well, I'm just surprised you
there is no
don't.
doubt.
I'm surprised you don't remember him. Let me just.
For all of that, I remember the ranch where he lived. I remember that. That's so awesome. And I remember a country in mourning. I remember lots of people in mourning who never ever met Nelson Mandela or knew anything about him.
What year?
Okay.
Was it? I mean, it's just a shame. The stuff that she had to say is amazing to me. You need a beer?
Mandela?
I want to order
Not that long
the
ago.
IPA things he had.
He's got plenty of
No.
I'm going to pay for it.
Later.
I'll pay for it.
What's that term? Linda?
The noise.
What's the crack with what's going on?
With men? Oh, well, okay, in 2010, Fiona Broom and some other people started discussing.
Can I have some Titanics in there, please?
What would you like in there?
Titanics, ice.
Ice. This Irish. I don't know.
I know.
I don't understand the terminology, and I understand a lot of weird terminology.
More money in the bills. Don't get.
There we go. Okay. They were having a conversation at some convention about Nelson Mandela, and somebody said he died. I thought he already died. I thought he died back in the late 80s. What do you mean he died again? Yeah, he was president of South Africa, and he died. And that's when everybody started going, yeah, I remember him dying. I remember the funeral.
No,
I can't
I
smoke.
remember in
Apparently I'm a motorcycle racer.
2000 and plus.
2000,
I'm allowed to talk that
yeah,
shit.
that he died.
Yes, I remember the ranch. I remember.
Do you remember him becoming president of South Africa?
I remember watching what I was showing in the media.
Oh, right. And who knows
I remember
about
watching what
that?
I was showing, and I remember looking, and I remember thinking, back home, he became a softer creature and a softer creature and a more, he became different.
And became president of South Africa.
I don't actually remember that.
Neither do
I
I.
don't remember being president.
I do not remember that. I remember her being a vicious, vindictive, nasty bit of goods.
Bit of goods. I want to remember that, boss. I didn't remember bit of goods.
She was
That sounds like piece of shit.
bad
That's what I'm
lady.
thinking.
She
Bit
was
of
a bad
goods.
lady.
Maybe I could use that in my videos or some of
Or
my.
at least that's what I was taught. She
some of
was
the
a bad
shows.
lady in the end.
Right, we got the motorcycle guy playing the guitar.
Don't be that way with it.
Okay. You know how
So-
messed up our country is?
What country?
What country?
The country that we live in.
Ireland.
Oh,
No, we're in a
You guys don't live in Ireland.
yes,
it's like
we
Ireland,
do.
but we're in like
Yes,
a
we
separate
do.
place
We live in a fantastic little country called Northern
where
Ireland.
they give us
Northern
2
Ireland.
passports.
2 passports.
We're not
We
allowed to have
have
one.
a United Kingdom
And
passport,
when we
and we
see
have an
somebody
Irish
like you
passport.
wearing an orange T-shirt, it's like we segregate.
Oh, Jesus. I got Holy.
You're supposed to be a singer. It's this girl's birthday. Irishness.
Okay, the Irish.
Dun, da, da. Look, it's red. It's
Hey, now you're talking.
black with red.
Okay.
Do you know what?
You can't.
No more orange. No more orange in here. Okay.
I know.
Wear the orange when you're off work.
You can wear
Somewhere
orange
else.
anytime.
It's the first time I ever wore orange in my life, and I had to do it here now.
But you can't wear orange in an Irish bar. No, it's a contradiction of terms. It's like to wear orange is William of Orange of Holland, and orange is a contradiction of terms in an Irish bar. You can't,
Yes,
you can't
but-
wear orange in a green bar.
In the trickler, it is green, white, and orange.
Correct, because we're
And
a
the
mixed
orange
culture.
is orange, and the green is green. Anyhow, Mandela effect.
Yeah, I love you.
So, getting right back to that.
Let's get back into it.
I got a
I'm not like Why him?
So I end up
Why him? That's just what they happened to notice in 2010. A few people noticed that they remember him dying in, say, 88, 89,
You know, you're
and some people say 91.
I have no idea.
Then he went, and then they said, well, wait a minute, how could he have just died? He already died 10 years ago now, honestly. Gene Wilder, you heard of him? Yeah, he's died every 10 years for me.
But somebody wasn't
And I hear the news, Gene Wilder died. Oh, okay. 10 years later, I hear about him dying again. I'm like thinking, maybe they just made a mistake and I blew it off. It happened my whole life.
Yeah, we built America.
But do you investigate that? Do you go after that?
Some things I do. I have been investigating, but I kind of just stopped because it's a real thing to me. The Mandela Effect is a real.
You settled in the belief of
I
that.
settled. Yeah, I settled. I'm sorry.
But you know,
Apologize for
yeah,
my
no,
ignorance.
it's fine. It's not ignorance. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
It's fine. But Mandela, why him?
That's what they happened to notice, so they called it the Mandela Effect. Fiona Broom, she has a site called MandelaEffect.com. That's where in 2015, she's a paranormal, supernatural ghost hunter of some sort. And she has other sites. And she just did this as a side project, asking people, hey, what do you remember? And then all of a sudden, I'd say from 2010 to the end of 14, the site wasn't that big. But in 2015, it blew up because everybody started to notice Jiffy peanut butter never existed. And I ate Jiffy peanut butter my whole life. But you wouldn't know about Jiffy peanut butter. You know Jiffy or Jif or Skippy in Ireland.
No, but you know, timelines and things like that are. There's things that happen in my life, and I don't. You ask me when was it? When did it happen? And I'm like, might have been. Might have been then. Oh no, it might have been then. And you suggest, you become suggestive, and I go, oh God, no, you're right. Might have been then. Might have been then. So how do you get by that? How do you?
Your mind justifies it? Is that what you're doing?
Do you write it down? Do you go, holy shit, somebody just said Gene Wilder died. Bloody hell.
He already died.
Friggin' hell.
Yep.
I'm writing that shit down. Who said that? I'm writing that shit down. And I'm going to tackle that guy and say, well, you know what? He already died way back then. And do you do that?
Well, it happened to me with Elvis Presley. He died in 72 for me. I mean, but you're saying, who am I going to, there's other people that also remember these Nelson Mandela dying in the early 80s. So I don't know. I don't understand. What research am I going to do on somebody dying?
So is that what brings you here?
I mean,
Your own research. You're not stupid. You're an intelligent guy.
yeah, but I'm trying to figure out, because I know for me, I saw a documentary that told me Elvis Presley died in 72. And I just believed that my whole life, and then I find out he died in 77, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I thought he died in 72, but there was only 3 or 4 other people that collaborated that with me and said, yeah, I remember him dying in 72 also. Not a lot of people remember that. Well, it's because that's where their consciousness was. Their consciousness was, mine apparently was somewhere else.
Okay.
But I'm trying to understand.
Do you try to, do you make, it's all right trying to remember, and it's all right trying to do these things. Do you actually write it down, make a notebook, say?
Okay, I have written some things down, and those things have changed in the book that I wrote down, and I read it and I'm going, well, I didn't write that.
You did?
The things just didn't. I haven't even gotten.
You did write it down?
No, I wrote down all my experiences at 15. I have slightly misplaced the book. I know I have it. I just been kind of looking at it because I'm writing a full book.
It'll be there. It's like everything. It'll be there.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, I've documented quite a bit. I have 140 videos on YouTube.
But you know, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust. It's not that I don't trust people. I do. I listen to what they say, and I know they believe what they say. It doesn't mean it's right.
No, not at all. And
Ever.
But it might have been right for them in another timeline. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's the only way I really know how to speak it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But nothing has happened to me like that. So why would I've never had to challenge anything like that. I've never had to say, Nelson Mandela died what? But I was told.
Well,
I've never
but
had to
see,
challenge
my
that.
trigger is I saw the funeral.
Yes, but your consciousness a lot of the time lets you see certain things. And your consciousness will let you pick up certain things and you miss certain things.
So you're already justifying that you thought there was 3 people in the car when JFK was murdered.
No, I thought there was 2. Hell, I didn't even know there was a driver. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What I saw was him and her. That's all I saw. I saw his brains getting blown out and her making her move. That's all I saw. And that could have been because of my age, because of, I don't know, all different factors. That could have
So you
been,
think you just missed it, that there was always 6 people in that car?
if you tell me there were,
Who am I? Who cares what I
show me a
say?
photo. There were 6 people in the car.
I know, but what do
And
you?
right
But you
now, all
remember?
I saw were him and her. And in actual fact, it's ridiculous, because thinking back, who was driving the car? But what I saw was him and her. And it could have been my age, it could have been...
So you think there was really always 6 people in the car and you just missed it?
No, I only ever thought there were 2.
Well,
I only ever thought there were him and her.
Yeah.
Sailing along.
I really feel like I should apologize for doing this to you.
Why? Why?
I'm
Why?
kidding.
You know, my naivety, what blew my mind at that time.
You're over
What
it
I
already.
saw. No, I'm not over it. I'm not over it. But it was one of those things where you weren't there, you didn't see, you didn't smell, you didn't do any of those things, and you weren't really there, and all you're taking is what somebody showed you.
Yeah, that reminds
And
me
what
of a bunch
somebody
of other
portrayed.
things that they told me and showed me, and
Yeah.
I'm taking everybody's
And they're
word for
different,
it.
and they're maybe different. You've learned now that they weren't like that at all. But
Interesting.
that's the Kennedy thing for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other Mandela effects that I'd be able to give you that are like Australia. Do you know, like, how would you describe where Australia is? I totally worded that wrong.
Take another go.
Yeah, how about what's the second most southern continent? That's not going to work either. Is there anything south of Australia?
Yes.
What?
Antarctic.
The Antarctica. Okay, other than that, is there any other countries that are...
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah, see, okay, I remember New Zealand being northeast and now it's southeast of Australia, and Australia's a little closer to the Asian continents. I don't remember it that way.
Really?
Tasmania is south of Australia.
Is that in Australia?
No, it's an
Tasmania is a
island.
separate colony.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a country, but I know it's separate from Australia.
Huh.
Okay.
Well-
There's the islands and stuff.
Perhaps.
Never remember to bring my book. Do you see the download going on here?
Actually, in the whole world aspect of everything, South Africa is south of Australia.
New Zealand's not?
I don't think so. I think it's east.
Yeah, well, okay, east, yeah. I thought it was
Of
south,
Australia.
northeast.
Yeah.
It's not down under. Now New Zealand is down under. That's what I'm getting at. I mean, I always thought Australia was down there by itself.
No. No.
It's not.
Tasmania's right there, and then
There's other
I
islands.
think
There's other
in
islands.
the world scheme of things, South Africa is technically more south than Australia, but that's not right there with everything. Oh, I got a few more.
I gotta come up with a Mandela effect. That's I know my brain's total mush. You guys got Fruit Loops? It's,
A who?
Fruit. You probably don't. They don't feed you garbage. Let's see. TV shows, music. I mean, it's hard to do. It's really hard to come up with Mandela effects if somebody's from another country. Most of it's based.
I'm just, my curiosity.
For me, anyway. I apologize. Yeah, well, I got it. We're gonna have to end this because it's not gonna. It's up. What aren't you getting? Don't know. That's a good question. That's what they saw. I mean, people they've had the time shifting theory before that came out. That's just what went commercial.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I didn't introduce her properly. It's almost after hours. That's why the lights are down. She wants to know what I do with all the videos.
I get him, but I trust him.
Oh.
I hope.
I trust you too, Heather. And I hope I opened up your mind in a good way. And don't let the download affect your dominant consciousness. You have no idea what I'm saying.
You should. I'm curious, and
If you watch some of my videos, you'll figure it out.
well, yeah, you're going to give me
I'll give you the info.
details.
I'll give you the details.
And I'll have a look.
Give it a wave. There you go. How do you say bye in Ireland? In Ireland. In Gaelic. Do you speak Gaelic?
No.
Wow, that would have been impressive, I guess. I don't know.
No, no.
Any Gaelic?
No Gaelic.
But we
Is
just
that-
say, this is what we say. We
So
say,
looked in the wrong religion.
cheerio.
Oh, see, I knew I was going to insult this guy. I knew I was going to insult him no matter what. I mean, there was no chance of me getting by. Everybody put their orange shirts on and get out. No.
No, the orange shirts we can live with. The green shirts we can't.
Oh, I should have kept the orange on?
No.
Oh, hell yeah.
No.
Oh, look at you two. Look, I got them fighting. Do you guys have divorce in Ireland?
Listen, green, orange, whatever. We love it all.
It's a color.
No, it's our colours, and we love
What color is chartreuse?
Richie.
Chartreuse. What color is chartreuse?
You gonna fucking die?
I've never heard of that color before.
You wanna say the fucking die? You wanna say
There's not a chance I'm going to hear you over the angry Irishman over here.
No, angry? He's not angry.
He's not an Irish. He's just loud.
Listen, in Ireland we say cheerio and thank you.
Cheerio and thank you. What color's what did I say?
no pikey.
Chartreuse. Any guesses?
That's fully pikey.
Huh? Hot pink.
Like grapefruit?
Like grapefruit.
Yeah.
Is that a question?
Fully Irish.
Yes.
That is.
What do you think?
Have you an answer?
It's the color of chartreuse. That's what I think.
Yeah. It's closer to a lime green or a yellow green, but I remember it as red burgundy, like a red, like an off red purple.
This is one of those Mandela Effects.
It is. Actually.
Go away! Turn it off!
Here I have a comment on my crystal video, Captain Picard's crystal. There's a lot of interesting things people are saying. I'd say almost nobody remembers this. Especially there was a couple people, two different people were talking about how they went to a museum in Seattle and did not see that prop at all. They're going through their pictures to see if it happens to be in it. The reason, this is Leo BCAC. The reason why he is now carrying a crystal, I found this very interesting, is because they, the people manipulating reality, are giving you clues to the molten glass firmament. Captain Picard equals Picard, first guy that took flight and discovered the dome on the top. Could be, man. If this is all clues in a game, we got to figure out the clues and you can't die. I mean, it's a pretty interesting computer game, huh? If that's the case, I found that to be an interesting comment.
Well, I remember Feel the Sensation. This I've heard of before and forgot all about it. I don't even know where this came up, whether it was a video or if it was on a site, Reddit or whatever. Right next to Kit Kat, look at that. You see it? Nope, no dash. But yeah, get the sensation. Now I remember York Peppermint Patty, Feel the Sensation. So, I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to read a few emails. Yes, I have two Adidas shirts. Well, I'm going to have this. I'm going to have Adidas with two D's printed underneath it. Maybe an upside down triangle thingy. Anyway, this email I found extremely interesting, and I want to toss this one out. Because we have I don't want to call it a new Mandela effect. It's not something I would have noticed. Just heard you on Mandela Mondays. I'm just outside AC. Been strange things happening around here. Now, I almost wish I was out there to see these things. He's got ghost cars coming out of nowhere. Says about 100 of them. I don't know if that was all at once or if he's been spotting them throughout the last few weeks or something. That's what it sounds like. Objects, orbs in the sky doing DNA helix flight patterns. Mandela stuff in high gear. I'm a Brit. This is the new Mandela effect for me anyway. I'm a Brit. My wife American pointed out that we drive on the wrong side of the road in the backwards, and the traffic lights are backwards. Now they are both the same. I looked it up. Yes, the British actually do drive on the right. I've never known that. I've always understood it that they drove on the left. And the traffic lights being opposite, my thought is maybe that's where people recognize the green on top, right on the bottom. I'm just speculating. I don't know. Can't say it's never been green on top for me, because I had this conversation with Guy Fawkes. He brought up something that gave me a flashback of being in southern New Jersey and driving into some town where the traffic lights were green on top, and I just assumed it was because it was this tourist town or whatever. Still could be that. I haven't looked it up since. But anyway, other people have talked about traffic lights green being on top. And according to this email, he and his wife used to have the discussion all the time about, traffic lights were upside down and they drove on the wrong side of the road. Now, apparently, the traffic lights are exactly the same as ours, and they drive on the right. British drive on the right? I've always known it. And we're talking not in modern age at all, but this left. There's 6 or 7 countries in Europe that still drive on the left. But England itself, and I could swear there are movies that I've seen them driving on the left and everything. And we're talking, from what I read, talking 1700s, 1800s. I mean, this is when the law was going into effect. Very interesting email. Thank you, Mr. Someone Else. It's also having time changes. Lay down at 6 a.m., wake up at 5:30 a.m. I've had similar things like that happen. But yeah, that's one email I wanted to spit out there. How do we know about this British driving on the right thing? Is this a new Mandela effect? Another email I wanted to share. BM, hi, I just found your channel. I got the same situation going on where people used to remember the Mandela effect. Now they don't, or just want to forget about it. Hit me about Chick-fil-A, because I have a picture of a receipt where it is spelled the old way. I remember, plus many more effects that I have noticed, plus Prince died this year because I moved. And I remember watching his funeral at my new house. And Billy Graham died years ago, and I can remember his funeral. Also, I could send you a pic of the receipt if you want, but you're sure not alone. I've just quit talking about it because people think I've lost it. I understand that, BM. No doubt. If you want to take a picture of the Chick-fil-A receipt and email it to me, that'd be great. I'll post it when I get a chance. It's really interesting. Prince died this year, and your proof is you bought your house this year, and you watched his funeral in your house live. I'm taking it. So, yeah. And the Billy Graham thing, I've gotten that from so many people about Billy Graham watching his funeral, knowing he's died. So, no, I'm definitely not alone in this, and neither are you. But, I mean, if you need to stay quiet on it, stay quiet on it. Be true to yourself. I would watch, because I notice when I decide to not talk about it, to go about my day and ignore it, it's shoved in my face. If there's a group of people that come into the bar and I say, nah, I'm just not in the mood to talk about it or whatever, they start talking about how the Febreze in their house doesn't smell right. Or they start talking about a TV show, and they're like, yeah, it's just like Sex in the City. And then, I mean, it'll be the strangest things that pop up, but it's always a Mandela effect. I'm like, man, how do you put Kit Kat in a sentence? And they'll do it. It's, and it's happened. Every time if I'm going to go 24 hours without saying Mandela effect, and it's shoved in my face. It's probably good for a video all on its own, but that's what happens. I put it down, and it's popped right in my face. Good one. Thank you very much, BM. Hope you continue enjoying my channel. All right, this one here is from Jamie. I found this interesting because this was not an effect for me. It's very close to home for me, but I do not see this as a Mandela effect for me. But I can totally understand where other people may have had this Mandela effect, where this Beatles song was sung by them, and now it's not sung by them. And I've been looking for that because I've seen other groups that I would swear that this song was by this person. Now some group I never heard of sang it, and they're a one-hit wonder. But this was interesting. Hi, this is Jamie. I comment on your YouTube channel every once in a while. I feel we are on the same path concerning the Mandela effect. I was wondering if you remember the Beatles song singing, "One is the loneliest number." I do, but I can't find it now. I missed the Beatles singing this song. This is a link I found as the closest. This link I found is the closest to it. It just sounds comforting to me, even though it's not their original voices. And maybe I'll leave you this link. I can totally feel the Beatles singing "One is the Loneliest Number." I could feel their harmonies in it. I can feel it. I think it would be great to hear them do that song, but no, I've never actually physically heard them sing that. But no doubt this would be a personal Mandela effect for Jamie, and I'll bet I get comments on this. People may remember that, because if you're not a big Beatles fan, it's not real close to home. And I suspect cut that out. I suspect if it's not real close to home, you might be like, yeah, I know for sure it was a Beatles song because a friend of mine loved the Beatles and he played it all the time. It could go like that. Well, thanks for that email, Jamie. So I have one more email I want to read. Actually, I have some comments I want to read too. And so I'll get to those too. But this one email I want to read, it's somebody's experience, and it's honestly 6 paragraphs long. I don't know. I'm going to go through it and see if I can pick out main points, maybe. Based on Mandela effect, on the way the letters are. This here looks right for me, but this is not what I saw in the video when they said that it was wrong. So I'll see what happens when I play this. Whoa. Alright, letters look the same to me. The music changed. When you heard me say whoa, right before that there was supposed to be a boom, like introducing the space station. Here we have Matt Raines. This is really cool. He's seen about 6 more Voyager episodes that he's never seen before, and he taped them like I did and watched every episode. And I was like, oh, cool, I missed one. But then I noticed a week went on, and there came up 5 episodes I've never seen before. Characters he didn't recognize, storyline out of sync. Yeah, same with me. Same with me. There's, yeah. Cool reply, Matt. Oh, well. Moving on. Someone, I watched a video that said, I Am Legend, the movie with Will Smith, the ending has changed. So I went ahead and I watched parts of it, and the ending did change for me. It became extremely shorter. I don't know about how the movie ended. As far as what happens, I think was the same. But I think there was a good 10 minutes missing. But that's all I got on that. Now I'm just noticing more people noticing Mandela effects, coming into contact with it, and kind of, you know, you remember what it was like when it first hit you, you know, try and justify it and you couldn't. I just hang in there. You know, you're to me, I don't know if this is just beginning or it's just a beginning regardless. It is just a beginning, but a beginning to what? You know, there's no end here. There's no end going on. And if it's the end of physical reality, you know, there's nothing to fear. You know, that I guess, you know, see, that's what I keep trying to come up with. I'm trying to articulate properly. If you're in fear about something, why? Okay, I mean, to me, it would be you're afraid to die or you're afraid to never exist again. And if you're never going to exist again and you blink out of existence, you're not going to know. Who cares? It ain't going to hurt. And if you do continue on and you're so desperate to do the right thing, you're going to screw up. Okay, I've lived that life for a few years, probably more than just a few back in the day. Can't walk around just trying to do the right thing all the time either. I mean, you got to be true to yourself. But the fear thing, you need to get over that. That will help you more than anything. When you feel fear, figure out what it is you're afraid of. Are you afraid of getting hurt? That goes away. Are you afraid of injuring yourself? That'll heal. You know, it's what is it you're afraid of? You're afraid of losing everything? I mean, look, that could be the best thing for you. Walk into those things. Drive right into those things. You know, if you lose everything, you'll just find out who you are. You know, I did lose a lot of things in the car accident, but I was in the process of just throwing stuff out. Physically getting rid of all the junk that I owned. And now I buy more. I've been thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? Every time I go out and I think, all right, I need to get this, this, and this. And if I run into Mickey Mouse, a Berenstein Bear book, Interview with a Vampire, or Sex and the City, I'll grab one of those. And I end up coming home with 3 or 4 other Mandela effects that I had no intention of grabbing. Like that Michael Jackson CD there. Anyway, I know it can be scary because, you know, physical reality is not what you've been told. Things are a lot different. Things are not the way they're supposed to be. You know, things are exactly how they're supposed to be, and everyone taught you differently. It's just not that way. There is a conversation I want to have. I was listening to a video where a guy is basically just into the Mandela effect, and he's been affected by just about every single Mandela effect. And when he talks to his family, it just doesn't go well at all. And he's convinced, you know, these aren't the same people, and they act like, he says, like they miss him. He always feels like they miss him. And I'm correlating that with, just like I said, with my family. There are people in my family who speak to me as if I've died, as if I'm gone. Ex-girlfriends I've talked to, it was like listening to a eulogy. Most of the people I talk to now have a death story. It's, you know, if we're on infinite timelines, there's infinite timelines, and your dominant consciousness is in a timeline. It's only there for you. You are the only one that your consciousness is the only one that really matters. Now, when you die in someone else's life, you continue on in a physical reality, interacting with them and everything. And they, to me, it's very possible they become the shadow people. or the non-human characters, or the background people. There's a few different names for them. You know, I've been wandering around for a couple of years now saying, are these people real? I go to baseball games and look at all these people. How many are here, really? 10? Now, when somebody dies in your life, they're dying for you. Okay, they die for you so that now you can experience your life without them, missing them, thinking about them, whatever. They're off in their physical reality where their dominant consciousness is. They died. They're still living in a physical. Their consciousness is still interacting in a physical realm. They're still existing, and they're still interacting with you. If they died, if you died for them, then no. Then they would be going on in a physical timeline where you don't exist. But if they die for you, they're still existing. Be happy, be excited. They've gotten into another adventure. I thought about that a long time. Think of it as different timelines. This one lady kept asking me, "Doesn't that hurt you? Aren't you upset that you died in their timeline and you're not with them?" Well, if I need to call them, I can call them. I'm interacting with them still. They're interacting with me still, unless, like I believe, I've died on the timeline they're existing in. And maybe not all of them. Maybe just some of them. So, and how can you do it? Look, it's not easy. That I didn't just, when I got into the Mandela Effect, when I was affected by it, I didn't just jump into that conclusion or that theory, that feeling. It took me, a good 2 years to experience and work my way through these things. So I'd say give it some time and start realizing you are and this was brought up in a comment, and I just don't have time to run through the comments to find it. Maybe I'll come across it. You are the star of the show. It's your show. If someone dies for you, they're off in another physical world. Okay, you look, my guess is your consciousness passed on in a way that you had to shift to a timeline that is going to be a lot different, especially if you're noticing every Mandela Effect. I mean, with this British driving on the right, that's a Mandela Effect for me. The British don't drive on the right. And their stoplights were never green, yellow, and red from top to bottom for me, but apparently they were, and now they're red, yellow, and green. Now they're the way they are here, and they used to be the other way. I never heard that either, but apparently a couple, one's from America, one's from Europe, or Britain, actually, and that's what he's saying, that the lights, and they drove, everything was upside down and backwards. The lights and driving. And now it's exactly the same. And apparently I've looked back and I can't find anything. 1736, I think it was, maybe 1836 is when they started to revert to the right side. And I mean, why? I've seen movies. I've talked about this. That's a Mandela Effect for me. So I popped that up. But I'm still trying to revert in a direction to where there are new people hitting this. I'm waking some people up, talking to them at the bar, but there's other people coming into this on their own, and they don't know where to turn. I think they're lucky that they get to YouTube, because there's a lot of, there's a lot of shit and a lot of crap going on. There's a lot of good info and could help people too. When I did Mandela Monday, I mentioned the Stasha's book that I was in. I didn't mention her name. Stasha Erickson put out a book. It's mainly just comments about the Mandela Effect. It's a great beginner book if you're not sure about the Mandela Effect and you want to read about it. Instead of going through YouTube and going through people's comments who have been into it for 5 years and other people who've just gotten into it, you can just go into this and see the comments straight up when it started happening about a year ago on YouTube. It was actually on YouTube a little longer than that, but she really put it together well. There's a couple of, you're going to get it. There's a couple of comments and theories in there that I don't agree with or, don't resonate with me, but there's a lot that does. You know, that's going to happen with any information. So take what you need, get rid of what you don't want. But I'm in the middle of writing my own now, and it's funny because I've been as long as I've been thinking about writing my own book. When she got hers published, that's when I was like, hey, I got to get this done. And it's not just about the Mandela effect; it's about all of my experiences from 15 to 17, yeah. And that's the other thing. This one's a big one for me. When the Mandela effects first hit me, it was scary, okay, and I got into it, and I learned about it, and I moved on it, and then to me, it was such a strong thing. Oh my God, physical reality is not what you've been told. And then it came to a point where it was like I was just chasing Mandela effects. I would just be so observant. It's probably not a bad thing because it really kept me in the moment. And I would watch it and go after it. And I started to theorize on things, on what it was, and I realized chasing Mandela effects was a trap. But I was very serious. I was very serious about it. And I quickly came, other channels were showing me, you know, they're joking about things, and even the MandelaEffect.com site, people were telling jokes, and I was going, hey, how could you do this? How can you sit here and joke around? And physical reality is completely changing. It's changing. It's molding into whatever it wants, maybe whatever we don't know, but stuff's going on here, and you're joking around about it. Now, this was 2 years and 15. And I believe it was on the Mandela Effects site. Kind of Fiona Broom got on there and said, you know, there's got to be humor in here, and I need humor in here. And she explained it, and she was totally right. I mean, you know, you gotta keep it light. But I was very serious about it. So I started to turn my videos around. Like if something unexpected would happen, I'd leave it in. Oh, what'd you do? How'd you get caught? You gotta start to retract your claws, buddy. Yeah, especially when they're dug in my leg. Yeah. Go ahead, go play. And I just feel like I experienced more when I was serious about it. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it's more important to be serious about it. And not just because of the recent video I've watched with the little girl saying, us 5D people have to help these 3D people raise their vibration. I don't think they were the exact verbatim words that the young lady used. But it started to make me think, wow, I used to be really serious about this, and I had more experiences. I turned off the seriousness somewhat and accepted distractions and let them come into my life. And it was almost like going back to the ball. It was almost like going back to what physical reality used to be. And that's not something I can do. I've tried it. It was so depressing. The 2 weeks, I was so depressed for 2 weeks. This is back probably in 15. And I said, never again. I couldn't believe it. I started reading Flat Earth material and Mandela Effects, and I got all so excited again, and said, no, I got to be serious, I think, at least about the Mandela Effects, and distractions are taken away from that. And you want to get really deep, it's about you giving your energy away to the television, to movies, to other things that aren't about growing. Keep that energy instead of spreading it out. That could be said about a few things. Keep your energy. Don't give away your energy. Not an email. It's comment, and it's on the Interesting Mandela Effect Conversations. He gets very personal about things he's done to experience things. And, you know, what I will read is, I started noticing things being slightly off. For me, it was Joel Osteen. My father was a pastor, and my entire life growing up, although we didn't follow Joel, he was everywhere on TV stations. People in my life read Osteen books, not Osteen. I noticed this change in 2010, 2011. I just assured them. I just assumed I had been wrong my entire life. I read a lot and have pretty decent memory, not photogenic, but very good. It was Osteen in the early 2000s. Now it's never been Osteen. I don't now, and this is the thing, I got 3 emails, and this is the bottom of his comment. I don't talk to anyone about this type of stuff because I sound like a lunatic. Maybe I am. But lunatics don't just go crazy about certain things. Their whole life is screwed. So I don't know. Anyone would believe me besides my wife. I told them everything during that year of what I felt stalked, harassed. He got a little paranoid. I was there too. And there was a time he mentioned in his story where everyone's looking at him. Well, I felt that way when I was in the cigar shop when I noticed the Ford symbol changed 2 years ago. And I felt that way walking through a store. And I don't know, there's no way I'm going to find the video, but I know I mentioned it. I was walking through a store, and not only did it seem like everybody was looking at me, it was like the store may have seemed fairly busy, but wherever I was, everybody was around me. I was completely surrounded by people and bumping into people, and it was like everybody was trying to get near me. And people would look up at me. I'm like, you're in a store walking around with a cart. People, you're not looking at other people, but everybody would glance up at me, and I was just like, and I really felt like everything there was directed for me. Very similar to what's your name? Awaken while sleeping, dreaming reality. I think it's your consciousness that shifted to a reality where things are different, including the people. I think they are in there, just like the death thing. They don't have to have died to be in their own dimension where things are different. You shifted. Something tragic, possibly. Death could be a catalyst. I don't know if it has to be tragic. You may have just shifted on your own without knowing it and didn't get back. I mean, if it's how we create motion and time, and it's a little unstable, apparently, where you get to shift wherever you want, that's what I think. I think. Here's another song one. I got this in a notification by SOB Poll 22. Susso, you a Doors fan? Keep your eyes on the road and your hand upon the wheel. I have to agree with SOB here. Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Yeah, it used to be hands, and now apparently it's just hand. I have not looked it up. I have not tested this, although, because there are some, I'll come on, somebody will say something, I'll go listen to it, and I'm like, no, don't see a change. Well, you heard it. It's hand now. I remember hands for sure. It's funny because other people have said, wow, you're lucky to have an outlet like that. I just recently started doing the interviews. I would talk with people when I first got here, and I was asked not to talk about it. And then I pushed on. It's in my personality. I'm not going to, if somebody tells me not to talk about what is, for me to talk about. If I'm called to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it, and I don't give a shit. But yeah, I was shunned and turned away, and it sucked. But when I was younger, I believed in UFOs and ghosts and all these other things, and would talk about aliens all the time, and people just got used to that. So friends and family, I guess, got used to me talking crazy stuff. And they appeased me, or at least for me, in this reality, wherever they're at, whatever they're doing here in my reality, they appease me. So I've pushed that away, I guess, created that to where I'm not going to deal with the negativity bullcrap. Maybe once in a while with a phone call, hi, how you doing? And oh yeah, reality's still shifting for you. Sure is. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, love you. Yeah, I do feel, I don't know, bad for the people that can't just get it out. But I think people should do videos. I've been saying it, thinking that in my head, that I want to tell people, get out there and do videos. People are sending me some incredible stories. Do a video. You don't have to put your face up. Look, I talk to people now, they won't put their face up because, look, they got families and people they care about that don't want to be bothered about this stuff, even though they're in their other timeline dimension and they wouldn't have to, but that's another story. You're still going to care about these people, even if they are shadow people. Or maybe their consciousness is close to your dominant consciousness, so you are really interacting with them. To me, it's not a big deal. They exist. Don't worry about them. This is the one you feel. This is the body you feel. That's the one you should be worried about or concerned with or worrying about the experiences. Don't worry about everybody else. If you can help them, that's great because it's about your interaction with them. But you can't worry about, oh, what are they feeling? You don't know, and who cares? You're the only one in your timeline. You're the only one in your dimension. You're the only one that can know that stuff. So you only know what's in your head. I'd stay there. So I have this new editing program going on, so we'll see how it goes. When I was on the Speakeasy with Scar Performance, Photo Helix, and Paul, and I started to talk about, I felt very similar to the way I felt 2 years ago in 15 when all these things started to happen to me. And that is exactly how I felt. And was it because of the things that were going on around me? Yeah. But those things would normally not have bothered me. And one thing I remember, and I have no idea where it came from, and it was the reason why I was holding on to my cord. Somebody said, grab your crystals, because they were going through some of these things too. I don't know if it was as descriptive. I just remember someone saying, grab your crystals, and I grabbed my quartz, and I got to tell you, it helped immensely. So I went ahead and grabbed this monster, and I've been laying down with this and focusing on it and keeping it clean, and it's been amazing. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I don't know if it's absorbing enough negativity or taking it away, the anxiousness I was going through, because everything is cleared up as far as I'm concerned. And if anything does go on, I'll handle it when it happens. I mean, that's all it was anyway. But I'm guessing this will go out on another video. The last one that you saw, I mean, the editing must have been horrendous. I don't think there's a pause button on here either. No? Gotta say, it's so much easier for me to just ramble and then edit, and right now I'm not able to edit. And I just did a nice talk on something. I've been getting a couple of emails and messages on my last video as far as the background people, shadow people. I don't think they're called shadow people. Background people, non-human, I don't even, characters. And I've spoken briefly about these things in my earlier videos, and the thoughts were kind of just being developed. So one of the things I meant, see, now it's hard because, what I usually do is talk about experience, and I don't want to be bringing up, there's things I can bring up, but there's some personal things that I don't need to bring up. So I need to change words and things. And to me, it's just not. It's the spirit of the message is there, so it's good enough. I mean, this whole we're shifting timelines, and you're in your own dimension, and your consciousness is the only one that really matters. Now, and I've said this before, I'm going to try and really break it down here. When someone dies in your life, they're basically dying. They are dying for you. They're off in another timeline, interacting with you, having their life, just as if, they didn't die and they were working it. Now, if they died and they're living in that dimension where other people stayed in a dimension where they did die, where they're interacting with those people, it's to me, and this is from experience, it seems like their dominant consciousness is so far removed that they actually talk to you in a sense, that you've died. I mean, they don't, you're not going to be interacting with them as much. You won't be seeing them as much unless it's family. And then I got into that because, there's people saying, I just think I'm the observer in my family. I just, and my advice there is show them you're happy. If their dominant consciousness is living on a timeline where you've died, but you're interacting with them on your timeline, let them know you're happy, because that's all they want to know. And that they're going to pick that up. When you're interacting with them physically, their dominant consciousness is going to pick that up. So if you're just high and happy, they're going to pick that up. And subconsciously, their dominant consciousness, where they're actually existing, is going to pick that up. And they're going to know that you're happy. And I'm guessing, because this is kind of happening to me, and it's like I'm experiencing it kind of. They start to treat you different. It will happen differently because you're affecting them, letting them know you're happy. Doesn't have to be, let's go out for ice cream, let's go out to dinner, let's have a conversation. It can be. I think if you really interact with those people, they're going to hit that dominant consciousness is going to pick that up more. But if all you did is walk around smiling all the time, I think they'd get it in wherever they're residing, whatever timeline they're in. That's the thing. If you're the one that died, how do you know that? I mean, we're coming into that. We're starting to understand things like that now. And there's so many different roads I could take here. If, like, that person died for you, this is about you, and now you have to deal with them and their life. If they're happy, you're going to know it. You're not going to worry about it because they're interacting with you on a timeline, and you're going to be picking up that stuff. And yes, this is theories and speculation from experience, but it's how I interpret these feelings that I'm getting. And is it right? It might be close, but is it right? I don't know. And I also went on talking about how I feel about it and how are they my real family? Well, of course. I mean, you can actually just go about this living your life normally as you would have. I would just say be more conscious of that it's about you. Wouldn't worry so much about other people. If you need to help them or take care of them in some way, that's great. They're picking that up on their dimension. If they're far removed, if they're right there, if it's right next to it, like most of us are, I would say yes, it's going on. And there's only one blade of grass difference in India or whatever. I mean, that's speculation again, but of course, I still have the same feelings for them. They're my family, and this was the experience part. I want to talk about was the things I felt during this shift and still feeling now. The anxious, not so much as the last couple of years in September, but since the 21st, I've noticed other people trying to drag me into their negativity, into their problems, and I'm not feeling guilty about blowing them off. I'm not feeling guilty about letting them go. But I could see around other people, so many things happen since the 21st, and I sleep during the day, right?
but I've just noticed. I wouldn't say anxious, but I can feel it. And we got this kind of foggy haze going around again. And this morning it was unbelievable. It was so eerie. With this, I don't know. It just seemed like it dissipated a little, because one of the videos I was talking about it, and I said I'm going to have to do what I did before, as far as, you know, laying down, meditating, and saying, no, I'm shifting now and getting out of this negativity. But even then, if that happened the way I said, regardless, it seems like it's a progression. It kind of starts off negative, and I think that might just be our higher selves trying to get used to this, a lighter dimension, if I can word it that way. So I wouldn't say so much that it's negative. It's just we're getting used to it. So maybe that's all that is. Because it seems to gradually get easier to deal with things. And that's basically what happened with me, you know, now. And it's the 23rd today, and things have seemed to calm down, but I'm still feeling something. Oh, and I don't really remember my dreams. If I remembered 10 dreams my whole life, I'd be shocked. But last night, I had quite a few, and I don't recall them completely. I just recall stuff like me blowing something off because it wasn't that big of a change. Colors were different, and for me to dream in colors is even more bizarre. I remember the colors, and I remember my attitude was very nonchalant. And of course, you know, I'm waking up going, I don't have to write that down, I'll remember that. And it was just strange. Actually, the last 2-3 days, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, all seemed to smash together for me, too. But, you know, my sleep patterns are different. 5-6 hours now at all. And it might be in the middle of the day, so, or whenever I can get it in. So, I don't know. It's, you know, I was waking up thinking it was already the 23rd when it was still the 21st. And like today, I couldn't remember if it was the 22nd or not until I asked somebody. Chipmunk. So it's nice out here, but it's starting to get chilly. They're calling for snow. That's right. They were calling for snow last night. Didn't happen. And they're calling for some snow already up here. And so by the end of the weekend. It's getting cold enough.
The experience part. You know, I wanted to talk from experience, and it's a really hard thing to do. You know, because, you know, of course I still care for them and everything else. And the way I look at it is they're picking it up wherever their dominant consciousness is, whether it's close to mine or far removed from mine, they're picking it up. So, you know, if you really feel like people are acting like you've died, I'd say just be happy around them. Let them see that you're happy, and I think that'll change. Because that's, you know, what happens when somebody dies, or what happened when we believed they died. We just wanted to know that they were happy and not in pain, right? I mean, you know, well, they're not in pain now. Oh, they're wherever they are in their timeline, still alive, interacting with you, and you're connected to all your doppelgangers. So, yeah, they're going to pick that up. So be happy around the people that think you're dead, or that you think they might be living in a timeline where you've passed on. And if they died for you, I wonder how that works. If I'm living in a timeline where they've passed, they've passed. You know, that's it. Unless I shift to where they're alive again. So I wonder how many times throughout history that's happened. I mean, but I had a neat conversation with that as far as family, and I was going through each member, and I just don't think that's necessary. You might get more out of it, you might not, because it's all going to be an individual thing. You know, you might have 3 people in your family and 2 friends that totally don't get it and just act like you ain't around anymore. And, 3 friends and 2 family members that totally get it and they're hanging out with you all the time and you're closer with them. This could be why. It could be depending on where your timeline or where your dimensions are far removed from each other. And there's infinite. So somebody asked me, can you and I be in the same dimension? Well, yeah, of course, everything's possible, but it's probably not it's probably not likely. I mean, I don't know what timeline I'm on right now. Let's say there's 9 billion people on the planet. I said last time I checked, there'd be under 8, almost, probably just under 7,000 as a matter of fact. But let's say there's 9 billion people on the planet and compare that to infinite. I mean, it's not going to matter. The things that, feeling people around me, being able to determine which direction they're going in, I don't really concern myself with about. The personal things that have been going on, I can't really talk about. They're still kind of going on. But I'm more of an observer. It doesn't bother me. It's even though I feel like I'll pick up other people's emotions, like first thing in the morning, yeah, I'm picking everything up. And I just, it's like once I become conscious of it, I shut it down. I put a barrier around me, protect myself, however you want to put it. Because I'm just observing. Even when people come at this avatar, it's not bothering me. I find that a little strange, but refreshing at the same time. And I really felt like the information about background people needs to be put out there that, yeah, they might be background people, but when you interact with them, you are going to affect their dominant consciousness. So it's just like we're all here anyway. So just go about your business the same. But I mean, thinking about it this way, it's actually good. I mean, if you can, okay, we know we have these minds that can be programmed. So just program yourself to think that way and things be easier, I think. Because, no matter how much you love somebody else, you don't know what's in their head. You don't know what's going on. You don't know where they're at. Help them, love them. They're there for you to love, to help, to share with, to share the experience of physical reality with. And know that when you communicate with them, their dominant consciousness is getting it. I mean, and if you feel like there's people just walking around like zombies, it's not. That's how they're going to be in your timeline, because wherever their dominant consciousness is, they're doing something else. And I would say the more they walk around zombie-like, the further removed they are. But I don't know that. I don't know half the stuff I'm saying. This is from feelings and experiences. And I just felt like it was important to get this one out because a couple of people came on with messages, and that's another thing I talked about. I went through a lot of pain with this since 2015. This started for me in February 2015, probably earlier, I think early 14. And I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know where to go. I found the Mandela Effects site. That was a nice outlet. I found some YouTube channels. They were nice outlets. Not a lot on the Mandela Effect in 15 when I first started looking at it, boy. But the pain I went through, it was like some experiences started to happen. I started to get a hold of it, and then August, September, October, drove around. Why do I think August is after September? This is my memory. October, the blood moons, was big. There was 2 weeks there where I was not tethered to time. I think that is extremely important. I was not tethered to time. I ate when I want, slept when I want, woke up when I want, read when I want, and that's all I would do. I would sleep 5 hours with the crystal right next to me. I would eat one meal in 24 hours, and I would read the rest of that time. I would just read. And it took me a week and a half, 2 weeks to get through those threads. And everybody's like, wow, you did it that quick? Like, well, that's all I would do. There was, I think, 250 to 300 replies on each thread, and 15 threads. So, but I went through a lot of pain, especially around the blood moons. And it's strange because I know I have it written down in a book in my notebook that I need to find. Because I'm trying to line up what happened first while I'm writing my book. I kind of would like to put it in order. Some of the stuff I can't because I'm writing about stuff that I didn't know what was going on. So I had to kind of explain it to set it up and move ahead and go back again. So I guess it's kind of neat. But the pain I went through was ridiculous, and family and friends were included in that. There was a lot of physical pain. At night, I would curl in a corner and read, and I could feel the evil looking over my shoulder to see what I was reading. I could feel the evil leaving my body. And was it evil? That's what it felt like. But I think it was more like lies. Lies. The things that I believed were leaving, and I felt it. It was physical. But it was painful, and I would, run to the bed and lay down and grab that crystal, and I would just lay there. I can't even explain it. I wasn't sick. I wasn't feverish. My body I would shake, and not convulsion. Like it wasn't like I didn't have control of it. I would just sit in the corner. 5 minutes, 10 minutes go by. I'd lay there, put it on, sweating. The pain just stiffened my back so bad. And that would be the night. And then I'd, wake up 5 hours later, it'd still be dark. It seemed to be dark. And then I would get up and get very excited for the light. And I would go outside, and for 2 straight weeks, it was nothing but fog. I kept waiting for a sign to pop up that would say, please excuse our appearance while we change your reality. I mean, I literally expected that to happen because I wasn't leaving. I had nowhere to go. I didn't care. I woke up, I would stay in my robe, walk outside, get some eggs. That's all I was eating was scrambled eggs. That's all I was eating. And spaghetti. Yeah, spaghetti and eggs. And that was it. And it was a lot of pain. And the family and friends part is what's brought me to this, is because, I've had conversations with friends who I didn't think I'd talk to again, and conversations with friends who just weren't getting it, that I thought, well, we'll still chat here and there, but it's not going to be, about Mandela effects or shifting timelines. But I'm actually friends with both of those people now, and I actually discussed Mandela effects with them. One of them actually said, I have a Mandela effect for you. So he goes, your nickname is Seuss, not Susso. Wait a minute. Everybody calls me Seuss. Some people Susso here and there, but it was always Seuss. Well, that's too close for me and too minor. I mean, I don't really care. I keep expecting S's to fall out of my name. So, that somebody wrote to me SUSO the other day. I was like, oh, here we go. No, it's SUSSO, and it might just be SUSS. Susso's the name of my channel. It's part of my last name. That's what everybody called me. It was always, they got the juice, but we got the Seuss. That was the saying that they would say, like football teams and baseball teams when I was younger. I don't think much of that. That's just, people started calling me Seuss and Susso. No big deal. But most people would probably, hey, Seuss, what's up? Do I think that's a Mandela effect? No. No, until people start writing to me telling me your name was SUSO. What happened? Now it's SUSSO. Well, for me, it's always been SUSSO or SUS. Being on the Mandela Monday show and the speakeasy, I mean, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that a lot. And I've seriously been thinking about just going out in the woods and doing something live, probably not long, maybe like 10, 15 minute, maybe 20-minute thing. Kicking that around, that could be neat. Be a lot easier than wasting all this time editing SUSS. September 23rd, and the trees aren't changing. That's what I like about this time of year. A couple things I wanted to talk about. One, I've done a couple of videos on, and I keep redoing it. It's about that death topic, and because I've gotten a couple of emails and messages, and people are just, curious about that. What I mean by that, it all comes down to you. And everything is here for you, including people. And I guess what I was suggesting is if you die for someone else, if you're around people that are, I don't want to say zombie-like or seem like the, what do they call, background people, it may be because in their timeline you may have passed. And they're interacting with you on another timeline. You're interacting without them because in your timeline they passed. Now see, this is so intricate because when you're interacting with someone that has died, that believes you died, they're in their timeline and you're gone in their timeline. You're interacting with them in your timeline, they're picking that up. I think that's the important message I wanted to get. So if you're worried that they're all upset and worried about you because, you think, ooh, they may be on a timeline where I died, just be happy around them. I think that was the main message that I kept thinking because they're going to pick that up. Their dominant consciousness is going to pick that up. I mean, when someone dies, when we were, when we believed in death and everything, what did we want? We wanted to know that they were safe and not in pain. So if you're walking around these people happy all the time, they're going to pick that up and they're going to probably act differently towards you. So I think that whole thing will change. If you just don't have to be a reason, just be happy around them. I think that was the main message out of all that, because there's so many different scenarios going on here where somebody may have died in your life but stayed alive for somebody else that was in your timeline. Well, now you two are going to be on different timelines as well because this person's alive in their timeline and not in yours. I said that right? I think you get what I'm saying. And we have people wondering how do I deal with that with my family and stuff? Because I've said, I think I've passed for most of my family. And I've spoken with one of them about it, and they were just in shock that I said such a thing. How do I deal with it? They're all alive and well in their timeline, enjoying their life, doing what they have to do, learning the things they need to learn. But that's, I have so much more to say about that, but I can't. It's just going to be a big circle. It comes down to your life is for you. You're the only one in your head. Everything and everybody else is doing their thing in their own timelines. Just suggestions and theories. I love it. I'm loving this fall weather. Them trees changing out there.
one other thing that I've been feeling. Now, I don't know how much I got into this, but you know, I remember being programmed big time to have a family and do the whole American dream thing. And these past couple of years with all this going on, I just figure, look, that's major distraction. And ripped myself away from that idea. Or at least tried to. You know, and I always thought, well, I'm going to give up. I'm just not going to try. I'm not going to pursue. And why hasn't the thing, program, creator, control, if you want to distract me, why don't you put my the other half of my soul next to me one time? And I mean, that would do it, right? That would put me in a relationship, and that'd be the end of it. Well, maybe not. That's the thing. How much would I fight that? You know, but these last couple of days, I've been, you know, like being out here and seeing families and stuff and hanging out. I'm like, ooh, you know, I remember that program. But it wasn't just desiring that and thinking, oh, I want that. I was also remembering the boredom of that. And not the people, not the family, but the boredom of being in a family and going through that mundane routine constantly over and over and over again. I've been feeling it the last couple of days. Like, ooh, I miss that. I miss the idea of that ignorance is bliss. But it wouldn't be that. You know, for me, I'd be walking around looking at everybody. Yeah, you guys want to come over for the game? Sure. You know, wife will go out with her friends. Kids go out and play. And I'd just be observing, just laughing, going, wow, I can't believe they didn't realize that so-and-so team's jersey has never been like that before. And I don't mean like the retro ones or anything, or whatever. Notice the change, just laugh. Laugh at everybody else not noticing. I think it's going to be a lot more than just these little changes. And with this death conversation that I've been pulling, I keep thinking, wow, people are going to, if we're in that mindset where we really feel like so-and-so died, all they did was took themselves out of my timeline. I'm thinking we might start noticing people that we know instead of just celebrities that haven't died when we thought they did. I mean, that would be the next big step. I don't know. Just speculating. With that family thing, you know, no. I'd like nothing more than have a relationship, but it would have to be with somebody that's awake, or at least trying to wake up. It'd have to be somebody where my dominant consciousness is close to their dominant consciousness, because anything else is just a headache. The sign wasn't. They came and played this game and then wrote that all over it. Hey Rod, say hi to all my Mandela Effect people this way. Already, September 23rd. Bought my winter clothes already.
All right, I really want to do this live. I probably will. But let's see how this comes out. This is my new room. If I can pick this up. This is where I'm at. There's my Mandela Effect collection. It's a pretty dang on big room. Lots of cat towers.
They be running this place more than I am. This is their place, and I just hang out here. So how's everybody been doing? Got on with, talked with Scar Performance and a few other people in a private conversation, and it's just really made me want to get back into this. And that's one of the things that I haven't written down here I want to talk about that I got up to in my book. Yeah, my book's running smooth. If everything goes well, it should be out by February, March. I mean, that's if everything goes perfect. Very excited about that. Dropping the ball. Sometime in 15, when I first discovered a lot of this stuff, I got the epiphanies, went through a couple, definitely the star situation, the orbs, not the conversations, not the stuff in Mississippi. It was when I was still in Colorado before I went to Mississippi. I went back to the ball. Okay, I took it all in and decided this was before a lot of things that I'm thinking about. Because at that point where everything was going on, where I was getting most of the paranormal, supernatural experiences, I wasn't tethered to time because I volunteered getting laid off. I took some time off, kind of had to at that time. That's definitely something I would do, is not be tethered to time or worrying about work or worrying about anything. So I wasn't tethered to time. But I gathered everything in and I just sat and thought about it. And I don't know what made me make the decision, but I decided to go back to the ball. And what I mean by that is I decided to go back to physical reality as a solid thing. And I just went about my mundane life, going to work, going home, paying my bills, and I got very depressed. I mean, I'd say about a weekend I was depressed and bored and just couldn't understand why I was feeling depressed. I wasn't looking at any Mandela Effects stuff. This is before I found MandelaEffect.com. This was like, I'd say mid-August. And, I said, no, I just want to go back to, I'm going to find me actually, at the time I was seeing somebody, I was going to make it serious. And I just got very depressed. I stopped thinking about the earth being flat. I stopped thinking about the stars being intelligent beings. I stopped thinking about that stuff. I went back to watching movies, and by the second week, I just sat there. I forgot about this stuff. I mean, you don't forget, okay? So I forgot about it as far as I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to do it. And by the second week, I sat there one time, and I was just so depressed. And I couldn't understand why. And I popped my computer on, and I went to a flat earth video. And I decided right then and there, you know what? You can't go back to the ball. You're going to get, you can't. I mean, look, and like I said, I don't know if it's flat, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe for a second that it's a ball spinning and flying through space. That's what it's not. What it is, I don't know. But I got very depressed, and once I realized that, I put that flat Earth video on. I started watching. I got so excited, and it hit me. I was like, you can't go back. It'll just be worse. You can't walk the line. You got to make a decision. Physical reality is not what you've been told, or it's a solid. What is that word I want? There's a word I want here. Ooh, I'll find it. But
anyway, that was one thing that is not written on here that I wanted to talk about, because you really can't go back to the ball, as I like to put it. I've been running into a lot of people who, I'll talk about the Mandela Effect. It'll be a group of people, 3 or 4, whatever. And there's always one person in that group who will answer every question the way it is in this timeline. You understand what I'm talking? I don't know if that's what's actually going on, but yes. And it's tough to get around them. So I've been kind of chumming up with them and saying, hey, come here, you know what? You're going to get every answer right. I can tell by looking at them now. I can tell by seeing a person whether they're going to be affected or not. So, you know, I play that up, and I'm right almost every time. I mean, hey, what color's the yield sign? Dude's like, red. And the other two are looking at him like, it's yellow. What are you saying it's red for? And he's like, no, it's red. And it's just interesting. I'm finding, I was on the phone with Scarab Performance, just talking with him, and we were talking about, you know, he was getting to a subject where about people and how many people are actually here and stuff. And I'm thinking there's not many of us. You know, that 144,000 number came up. I like that. But, you know, as far as 9 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion, I think maybe, and I'm just coming up with this now, maybe each individual timeline actually has a different set of people where their dominant consciousness is. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, I just found that really interesting. One of the really neat topics I wanted to get into is Curiouser and Curiouser puts out a lot of videos where they're coming up with a lot of letters connecting. And I'm thinking there's kind of a meaning there, like the T's that are both crossed together. That's double cross. You're being double crossed. I don't know what products or whatever have the double T's or whatever. And there's not a lot of them, but I've noticed one that I haven't seen posted by Curiouser and Curiouser or anyone else, and that's it's a cat product. Hold on, what is it? It's the KI that's connected. Friskies, the K and the I are connected. So I looked up KI and I get spirit, soul. And what was my question back then? Oh, you know, it wasn't a question. I was just questioning everything by saying there is, you know, let me, and look, you know what, this is a topic I don't want to go with you guys because it's going to cause controversy and I don't need it and I don't care. Okay. But for me to do what I'm doing, to experiment and to the formula that I put together to create, which is something I'd love to talk to you about. I'll probably talk with that live on Danny's show or whatever we do on Sunday night. Yeah, all right, I blew that. I have no idea what I was about to say. Took a couple-minute break, and I'm lost. Anyway, beyond the Mandela Effect computer program. All right, this is one of the subjects, topics, theories that I really, I tend to steer away from the computer program. It's probably one of the most obvious. I steer away from it because, well, it doesn't matter why. What we got here? Computer program, enjoy create. Okay, am I supposed to be creating my physical reality around me? Or am I supposed to be fighting to get out? Am I supposed to try and figure out how to get out? I figured out how to create. That's complete bullshit. I haven't figured anything out. Okay, I have a formula that I've written out, I've done, and it's worked. Okay, I'm creating. I decided to, I started out with weather. You probably see that in some of my videos. And then I decided one day, I said, you know what? I'm getting really bored with all this. I need to create something. So what I did was I took the formula I have and I zeroed in on it. Instead of making it specific things, I broadened it. A week later, I became manager of the Silver Dollar Saloon. Okay? The details aren't important. And it's serious. The details aren't important. I will say that I have changed my desire, which is the first thing in the formula. I've changed my desire from wanting to run a casino properly and sustain it to wanting to run a business and sustaining it. And it did not have to be this place. And I stated that. It does not have to be the Silver Dollar Saloon. And it was a week before I got the job. You know, I did everything. There were certain people I was listening to and focusing on. I will be very detailed about this in my book. Getting through that, I thought, wow. You know, I didn't have time to absorb it and say, holy shit, I created this. I did this. I didn't have time because I became the manager of a bar that was being run into the ground, and I didn't even realize it. Okay? I mean, for 5 years, it was just being run into the ground. And, you know, after paying bills and taking care of all the things that need to be taken care of when taking care of a business, I could not believe the details I don't want to get into. So I'm taking the business, and I've turned it around already. I have a great crew. I mean, I've fired 5 people the first week I was here, evicted 3 people from the apartments that I'm also running. I didn't just get the manager position. I'm a landlord too. I mean, you know, it's all got plopped on me, and I took it and I ran with it. Now that's great, and I've created. And I'm taking that position that, yes, I created, it worked. How did it work? Why did it work? I'm not completely sure, and I'm not completely sure what in the formula is working and, you know, if it needs to be there or what. But I created it. But the other thought that keeps coming into my head is the computer program making me think I created this? Keeping me distracted. You know, now, Photo Helix said to me, no, these aren't distractions. These are opportunities. So I took that and ran with it, okay? Now, things have slowed down. Things have calmed down here. I mean, I'm not taking care of a funeral, okay, which I did the first week. The first 2 weeks, I had to take care of that. I wanted to make sure the owner didn't have anything to worry about, and I'd do everything I could for him while I was taking care of the business, evicting people, and everything else. I mean, so I had absolutely no time to do anything. Now I find myself wanting to write a song for, you know, the folks that are writing Mandela Effect albums. Anyway, because I got one. But anyway, you know, is the computer program making me think I created this and handed it to me? You know what? I can't worry about that. If that's going on and I'm supposed to be breaking out of here like, you know, hell on fire, you know, fine. I guess I'll get to that because I don't know, you know, I'm not taking anybody's word for anything. Okay. I'm just doing what I feel in my heart, wherever it is in this timeline. And I don't know. Well, I guess since I can't take a topic and edit and all that editing stuff, I just keep pausing when I lose my train of thought. I'm sure that's going to be great. Maroon 5. I have never listened to one song from this group, and if I ever have, I didn't know it. They have an album called Red Pill Blues. So if you've shifted into the red dimension, and you're not happy, you're not doing it right, I don't know, maybe I'll have to listen to that album. I wrote here about, you know, we're into music, so my Paul is Dead book has been put aside. It's not going to take me but a couple of hours to clean it up and finish it. I mean, it is finished, but there's still stuff I got to do. I'm putting it on hold. Thing is, if you can shift from timeline to timeline, okay, if he died in a timeline and they know what's going on, they just shifted everybody into a timeline where he didn't die. I know it sounds stupid, but hey, yo, that book, you know what? I'm gonna land this publishing company I got is really working with me here really well. They really like what I'm writing. I'm going to be putting out quite a bit of money to get this thing started, and I don't care. You know, they're trying to get me to market it better, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I don't care. If somebody is meant to read this book, they'll get it. They'll read it. They'll get it. Whatever. I'm not worried about it. I don't care about the money. I want to get the information out. You know, I want this book to be for people that are affected by the Mandela effect and don't know it, don't know what's going on, don't understand it, whatever. Maybe this will help them. Maybe if I explain my experiences, this will help them. I want it to be for people that are going through the Mandela effect. You know, I hope they read my book. I want it for you guys. I'm sure you're interested in the stories. I've done them. I've done a video on just about every experience, probably not all. And in the book, it's so much more detailed because what I did is I wrote and then I typed. And not all the things, but most of them, I wanted to write them down. What do we got here? Traveling to another affected, recent events, 2 months formula, creative desire. With the formula, the first thing I was doing wrong for about 20 years or so was I had a specific desire without knowing what to do with it. The best thing for me would have been to have a desire and be broad about it and be open about it, not have so many details. Until I would assume that until you know what you're doing, until you know exactly how to get something down, make it broad. If you understand what you're doing, I'd go specific. I mean, I don't. Timing for shifting, yeah, I like that with the dates, the September, the May thing. Okay, we should be more evolved as human beings. I believe at this time, this was a nice one. I believe at this time we should be more evolved as human beings. I believe we've been suppressed, we've been lied to, and things are coming out. It doesn't matter. The stuff's going to come out. If we are spirits, which I've gotten answers to, go to the spirit, go to the soul, whatever. Okay, so you're not your physical body. You are something else. You are something more. And if that's the case, I did it again. If that's the case, before we came here, we would have known what it would have been like when we got out. We would have seen it. Oh, there I am. I'm out. Hey, yo, I'm going in. No, don't do it. So if we already know we're coming out and we're either more knowledgeable or it would look like, yeah, that's worth it. Let me do that. You know, whatever. It doesn't matter so much what goes on here, but I'm sure it does. I mean, I just think that we've been suppressed. We should be more evolved. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's, some of us are opening up to it quicker than others, and I don't think it matters. I don't think there's anybody's better than anybody else, okay? We've been lied to and information suppressed. We have been dumbed down. We should be more evolved as human beings. Okay, I already said that. And now our evolution is speeding up. What else do I got here? I come up with 4. This is very loose here. I've come up with 4 reasons why we've come here. We actually chose to, after being exposed to physical reality or whatever it is, hey, look at that. Physical reality is a myth. No, you can go there. Okay, I'll go. Or, it looks like it's physical, but it's an illusion. It's not real. Yeah, but it's physical reality. You'll actually feel like you're physical when you're there. I don't know. I don't think so. it's going to be like this and it's going to be like that. You're tricked. Number two, you're tricked into going, you reluctantly agree. Number three, you're forced into physical reality. I ain't going there. Okay, no, you're not. And now you're chased into it, or however that works in the non-dimensional realms or non-physical realms. Or you're obligated. You were part of creating or helping create physical reality after they accidentally created it. Oh, well, that's another book I wrote years ago when I had nothing. I knew none of this stuff, and I wrote a book about the accidental creation of physical reality. That was neat. Statue of Liberty. You know, when the Statue of Liberty Mandela Effect came out, where everybody was saying the torch was in the wrong hand, I looked at it and I thought, I'm looking at the torch and I'm going, I don't know. I really don't know. Well, just the other day, I'm looking at the snow globe that's over there with my Mandela Effect collection, and it's supposed to be a snow globe of the Statue of Liberty. It's not mine. It was in this house, and I took it and put it with my collection. And now there's 4 things in that globe. There's a Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, something, the building on Ellis Island, and some other building. And I'm like, I was looking at it the other day, and I'm like, no, it's just, it doesn't bug me like it used to. But I'm like, no, that was only one. It was just the Statue of Liberty. I don't, with my OCD kicking in here and there, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have had something up there with the Mandela Effect collection that, wasn't totally a Mandela Effect. I don't know. Anyway, what I did the other day, I was looking at the book she carries. She's holding the book here, and okay. And I'm looking at the book, and I'm going, the book's in the wrong hand. So I got that the book, for me, I remember the book being over here. Not so much the torch, which would make more sense. But the book, I'm like, yeah, the book's in the wrong hand. And Liberty Island. The very first time in my life I heard about Liberty Island, it was on the TV show Fringe. They shifted into another timeline. They went to Liberty Island, and the Statue of Liberty is on Liberty Island in the other timeline. And they don't really say where it's at, or I'm not paying attention enough to where it's at in the other line. But that, I thought that familiar. I thought that weird. I really feel like after all the experiences I've been through, and this hasn't been in my book yet, and it really needs to be, that it's seriously about the energy that you're putting in your body and the energy you're releasing, okay? It's not just the energy you're putting in your body, but it's also the energy you're releasing, okay? The energy you're putting out. I think that has a lot to do with it. And I really think the Mandela Effect, I think it's a very good possibility. This could be our natural evolution. I think this is what we're doing, is we're learning to create. And that's good enough for now. I'm going to go ahead and end it. You guys have a great night. Enjoy your holidays. Red and blue. Oh. Don't know what else to say. Have a great night. I'll see you Sunday night live after I close the bar. He said he's willing to wait till I close the bar. Should be able to do it. I'd say my guess is 12:30 Eastern time. That's a guess for me, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll see you then.